welcome back to Guna Gathering. Today we're going to look back at the Champions League semi-final between Wolfsburg and Arsenal. I'm Gunnar Lee Meads, Lee, joined by Matt Roberts today. How are you, mate?
I'm good. It was a fantastic weekend. I'm looking forward to talking about it. And, of course, talking to everyone else and everything else that went on. Maybe perhaps previewing this next Monday's game.
Absolutely, we can do that. No problem at all. I think what we'll get into before we start, we'll talk about the news after the match, if you like, when the girls are trying to head out of Germany and it didn't quite go to plan.
Yes, unfortunately, a bird flew into the engine of the plane. They had to halt the plane, and they had to stay an extra night. So they've actually come back to they were meant to come back on Sunday. They now had to come back on the Monday, so it's delayed a little bit of the plans, especially treatment, recovery, and things like that.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shame, but it's small things like that where it caused a lot of panic because a lot of people were expecting, especially in social media, and that they were thinking, oh God, what's happened now? Has there been another player injured, or has there been? Was there any takeoff issues or anything like that, which meant someone potentially could have been injured that way? And then it caused a lot of panic. It was more of like fearing the worst again. And after the season that this team have had, especially when it considering injuries aside as well, the last thing you want is another either injury or something to say, oh, by the way, we basically just avoided a disaster. It could have been a lot worse. You were saying off there as well about it, considering how close it's been to the Munich disaster in '58.
Absolutely,
it's a bit of a bizarre one, but it's there's been a few jokes about it as well. People saying that the bird had a poor ACL as well. So I
probably a bit worse than that now, I would have thought.
Yeah,
but
it's just
all jokes aside, at least everyone's okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing, that everyone's okay and everyone's not shaken up about it. I'm sure that everyone's just a bit frustrated that they couldn't get home sooner. It was quite funny actually. Jen Beattie had a nice little TikTok with Steph Catley. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic.
I haven't seen that yet, actually.
It's the quote is that she's run on foot. I don't know who the quote is from, but the quote is she's had 4 cups of coffee, 2 hours of sleep, and she's living on a dream. And
nice.
It's a fantastic video. But essentially, they were on that plane, so I don't know if that's moments before they're about to take off, and then the incident happens. But
right.
The best thing was that it came out through a Sport Bild, who was Germany's they're the top resources for German football. So the fact that it went from Bild all the way to slowly being feeded through to other journalists in the UK, that's kind of huge as well, because usually on something like that, you'd expect the UK journalists to be on it, and then you'll have things like the usual sort of things. It'll be like almost headline sort of news at this point in the season.
Fair enough. Well, what we'll do, we'll get straight into the team news now. I'm going to concentrate on the Arsenal side because that's who I really know. And what I'd like you to do, Matt, you can tell us about the players who actually played and where they actually played, if you will, because I did notice through a few sources that it was a bit bizarre and where a couple of the players were lined up. So there's the team sheet from Arsenal's Twitter page.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I think a lot of people were confused by this. Essentially, I would call it 5 at the back, because you have Lotta Wubben-Moy, Jen Beattie, and Rafaela in the centre, Steph Catley on the left, and then Noel Moritz on the right. Essentially, that is almost like a 5, or if you really want to get technical, it's a 3-2-3-1 formation.
Yeah.
With basically Leah Volti, Frida Marnham, Victoria Pelova, and Katie McCabe making up the midfield. Leah Volti and Frida Marnham in the centre of that, with Katie and Victoria on both sides, Katie on the left, Victoria on the right, and then Stina up front.
Absolutely. So essentially, we've gone 3 centre halves. Obviously, Leah Williamson missing as well. McCabe has come in as captain. She was missing the previous WSL game, wasn't she? Through was it a suspension?
Yeah, for Chloe Kelly getting in the way of throwing the ball of taking her a throw in, which I still haven't forgiven her for.
I could tell by the tone of your voice just went. But it is what it is. So we're trying to get into the game. It's obviously very tough. We're playing one of the top teams in Germany. And, well, we didn't get off to the best of starts in the first half, did we? And 18 minutes gone, the Champions League top scorer has opened the scoring for the evening.
So just to put this into perspective, Barcelona scored within 4 minutes at Stamford Bridge.
Right. Okay.
Barcelona are one of the best teams. They dominate the Spanish league, whereas Wolfsburg have been the dominant force in Germany in the Frauen Bundesliga. But Bayern Munich are a close second at the moment. Bayern Munich are leading the way by that 1 point because Georgia Stanway scored the goal against Wolfsburg. It was a penalty. She loves a penalty.
She does, doesn't she?
But just to put into perspective, this was the 173rd game that Wolfsburg have played since their last time that they bottled. Well, people say bottled. They let a 2-0 lead slip. The last time
don't say things like that right now, mate. It hurts.
The last time this happened was actually against Freiburg in where they. Funny enough, it was a 2-2 draw as well,
right?
And that was in 2015. So that just to put that into perspective, that's 170. That's a huge record, and our record in Germany has not been great. I'll just point to last time around, we lost 2-0 there. We also lost 1-0 at Bayern Munich. So it wasn't a good sign going in, but the fact of the matter is this team works hard, and for the first 10 minutes, it was just about making sure that this team was able and ready to prepare themselves for what would happen in that next 10 minutes. Unfortunately, the Wolfsburg just managed to find a way to score a goal, get that first goal. Pajor is a huge player for them. Just to let people know, even though she essentially, I think the best way to describe her is she is a Podolski, Lewandowski.
Okay.
The reference is because she's Polish.
Right.
She's an out-and-out striker, and she's very crucial in the box. She is a fox in the box. She can score headers and things like that. And a lot of fans feel that she is a very good player, and she's been their player of the season so far. Bear in mind that Alex Pop was not in the squad because of the injury. She is hoping that to make the second leg at the Emirates on next Monday. But aside from that, Wolfsburg just having that moment to go and win a score of that opening goal. It was all about trying to set ourselves up and go again. And unfortunately, that second goal was just a lapse of concentration, and Sven Josh has got an open goal to score in. And you need, at this level, you can't afford to have those lapses in concentrations because other teams will punish you.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to sort of clarify how the first goal went in, because we sort of sped ahead just a little bit. There was a pass. It was one pass on the halfway line, wasn't it? That sort of took out most of our players. They got in around the back. And is it Payol? Is that how it is?
Payol, something somewhere on that line.
She just showed what a wonderful striker she was. It was a one touch and in, and I don't think Zimberger had a chance to save that at all. No. And to reference the second goal you're talking about, well, we thought we had a calamitous start in the Southampton game with the men's side with Ramsdale. Well, this was quite similar. This was just a still ball goal kick, and they're just playing in our own penalty area. I think the last pass was Jem Beattie.
Pass was meant to go to Jem Beattie. Unfortunately, had she stuck out a leg, I don't think she kind of realised a bit too late that it was going to her. So she sort of made that movement to go for it, and then she's realised it's a bit too late, and it's just an open goal for Sven-Jonas Johnsdottir.
Yeah. So wasn't the most ideal of starts, but we did get going after that, and just crawling up to half time, things got a bit better for us. We'll talk about the play before the corner kick, if you like.
Yeah.
And Marnham had a shot, went into the near post, which the goalkeeper saved quite well.
Yeah.
Want to go from that?
Yeah. The when Frida, it's just a typical Arsenal move at the moment to give the ball to Frida on the edge of the box, and she has this tendency to shoot. I'll use the game against Man United as the example. A lot of that time in the second half, she was on the edge of the box and she was shooting, but even when she had the free kick, she went for the shot instead of leaving it for Steph Catley to have the opportunity. And every time it was going over. So I thought this was going to be the type of game again where she was just going to keep on continuing shooting, and she's not going to get any luck. And this time, bit of a deflection, and the goalkeeper manages to clear it out. But it was a sign of how the momentum changed throughout the game. It wasn't just one team was attacking; it was very end to end and both ways, and a lot toward. I think we'll talk about that second half, but it was. If you're a neutral, that's the sort of game you kind of want. You don't want to see like the Barcelona game where it's 1-0 after 4 minutes and then that's it. You would have thought there's got to be another gear that they can go up, and they just didn't go up. Barcelona didn't step up that extra gear to get that 2 or 3 goals that they should have got.
Yeah. So quite an open game. So following Marnham's shot, which was sort of parried, went to a corner. Steph Catley taking the corner. Now it's the first time I think she started in quite a while. Yes. I've always said it since I've started watching WSL. Her corner kicks, her set plays are absolutely exceptional, and this one proved quite fruitful as well, didn't it?
There's a reason why all the fans think Steph Catley is wonderful, because even in China, she's got the lyric is she's got left foot like Messi. Her delivery is just superb. Every time you know that ball's coming into the box, there's going to be a chance, there's going to be an opportunity, and whether I know our set pieces this season, every time we have a set piece this season, we've been looking more lethal than we have in the past. Look, okay, I'd say last season, I think a couple of times Kate McCabe took a couple, and she ended up nearly concussing Leah Williamson at one point when she scored. But
poor Leah don't get any luck, does she?
No, but then again, it's just one of those things. But Steph Catley has just such a good delivery on those balls that you know who's going to be on the end of them. And Rafaela Souza has once again scored another header, and this one was probably the most crucial one she's ever scored. Bear in mind, this season she scored against all sorts of opposition, including the game against Chelsea, where we'll mention the Conti Cup final, because she did score that. I'm not taking deflection as an own goal. It's Hafa's goal, and this one it just gives you something to believe in. You know you've got something to play for in that second half, and it was a fantastic header. It was just so typical that she just was on the end of it at the right time, right place, and it was a fantastic header.
Yeah, literally right on the half time as well, wasn't it? 44 minutes. I would have changed how they would have gone in at half time. Felt like it sort of changed the momentum of the game a little bit as well. And that was Rafaela's first European goal for the club as well.
It was, and what a time to get it if you think about it, because when you need the big moments, you need your big players to step up, and a lot of these players have said this post game or before that they've realised now that because of how small the squad is, just to put it into perspective, we do have a squad list of 25 players. 8 of those players, we only have 18 players, and 3 of those are goalkeepers. So essentially, we are playing with only we were playing with only 15 players available.
Quite a young bench as well, wasn't it? There's quite a young bench, yeah.
So we actually added the day of the game, Hubert. So I don't know if you can, Hubbard. Sorry, she was added on the list on the day just to add numbers to the bench, just to make
Okay.
sure that we could get across the line. It it just shows you that there's this resilience, and there's it's the same throughout the men's and the women's. There's a never say die spirit, and
Yeah.
you play on until that final whistle, and you know at the end of this game what you've achieved. Just so many games this season, Arsenal have looked down and out, and last minute they've shown some resilience, or they've shown some sort of fight back. I'll point back to even though we lost 2-0 to Man City away at the Academy Stadium this season, we scored a goal in the second half. We could have caught, and Stina hit the post as well in that game. And you could be going, oh well, that's a point gained or a point lost or three. At the end of the day, those sort of games makes it tougher for you, and you learn from them, and you build your confidence on them a little bit more. And to be able to go 2-0 down, still show the fight, and then get it back to 2-1 at half time against a team as good as Wolfsburg, just shows how far this team come from how they did against Wolfsburg that last time around.
Yeah, I remember it was. I think we covered it for Cannon Jetter, if I recall. So yeah, and I would say this as well. So the second half has started, and I think the quality of the equalising goal was absolutely outstanding. It was a wonderful move, and this is your chance to shine, my friend, because I think your very favourite Leah Walters' role in the centre of midfield was absolutely. She was orchestrating the play in the middle there. And would you like to describe how the play fell to her and how she spraying the ball round, and how the team just generally played it round for Blackstenius to score the tap in at the end?
So this is basically the Arsenal way, isn't it? You're patiently waiting for the opportunities. The ball's going left to right, essentially waiting for your opportunity. And eventually the ball falls to the feet. Leah Volti plays the ball straight back to Lotta Weaver-Moy, who sees Victoria Pelova running down on the right-hand side, just inside. So she plays in a lovely ball. This is, I call it the Beth Mead ball, because it's essentially a through ball that Beth Mead would run onto and should score.
Yeah.
Victoria's a different player to Beth. Everyone's their own different player to everyone. That's just, but the quality that Lotta Weaver-Moy has proven this season, she stepped up another level, and it was a beautiful ball. And when Victoria got to the end of the byline, she just saw Stina standing on her own, and she just passed it across, and it was lovely. It was a lovely ball and a lovely tap in, and that probably meant a lot to not just the team, but I think Stina as well, because the game against United, she was very iffy, and I was a bit concerned actually being at the game that she didn't come off, because I thought she could have used a little bit of time to rest, relax a little bit, but just before that game. But she played the full 90 minutes, and she got the goal, because if I'm honest, she was actually one of the most impressive players on the pitch. Not just for attacking work, but the fact that she was doing her work rate of doing the defensive capabilities as well, and it was what we needed at that moment in time. And to be able to play against Wolfsburg, get that second goal, and come back to the Emirates with something to play for, that was a huge impact.
Absolutely, and it could have been even better as well. There was actually chances for both sides to win it in the end, but it did finish 2-2. I would say a fantastic result for Arsenal, getting back into the game, give us every chance to progress in the tie on Monday. Is that correct?
Yes, Monday. Tickets are still available, and we are just hitting up. We've just hit the 50,000 mark.
Yeah, just saw that.
So full capacity, which is huge.
Amazing, fantastic. It's lovely to see how it's all progressing, and the interest is building like we thought it would do after the Euros. So so that's all to play for. Wonderful result from the team, responding to adversity again with a like we said, with Leah's injury and everything else that's going against them, it was a wonderful result. And we move on. If you want to talk about the upcoming game on Monday, you absolutely go ahead, mate.
Well, essentially, this game was the precursor. I think a lot of people felt that whatever happened in Wolfsburg depended a lot on what was going to happen ticket-wise and things like that. We haven't mentioned Jen Beattie got player of the match. She was huge in that game.
Thank you. Yes, good point. There she is.
So just to bring up the stats about Jen before I go on about the game on Monday, she won all 3 of her aerial duels, 77 touches, 92.8% pass completion rate, 41 carries, 3 interceptions, 4 clearances, 0 errors. So just to put it into perspective, that's how she was first in everything apart from the carries where she was second. So
it's an incredible performance.
She was fantastic, and she stepped up when she really needed this season. And a lot of people questioning what's going to happen at the end of the season because her contract's going to be coming out.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm wondering whether or not they'll probably perhaps decide to offer her maybe a 6 months extension with Leah in mind, because she'll be out until the end of the start of the new year. So it might be an idea to keep her around. But we're not sure yet. But Jen's done fantastic this season, and she's really stepped up when needed to, which is great to see.
She's gone through an awful lot, hasn't she, as well? She's been at the club a long time as well, and to step up in a massive game like she did on Sunday was a magnificent effort. So absolute credit to her.
It was great to see.
Yeah.
And though you talk about leaders perhaps off the pitch, she is a leader off the pitch. She may not be the captain, but she's got a lot of respect from the team behind closed doors, and everyone really appreciates what she does. And even when if you do hear a podcast with Rachel Yankee and Izzy Christiansen, 3 players, 1 podcast, I think it is. She does come across as a very knowledgeable person, and she is a fantastic person, even if you've just seen her TikToks and things like that. But she's a great player, and I think we're happy to have that experience in that back line as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we move along, and we've got our next game. Say Monday, was it?
Yes. So Monday at, I believe it's a 5:30 kickoff. I will just double check that.
Thank you very much. I wasn't prepared for this, by the way, so I'm being as professional as I can, boys and girls.
Yeah, right. 5:45 kickoff.
Okay.
So it's 5:45 kickoff UK time, and it will be shown on DAZN on their Champions League YouTube channel. And it's going to be a fantastic day. You're talking about nearly a full capacity at the moment stadium. Hopefully the sun's shining like it is at the moment behind me, even though you can just about barely not see anything. or like in your room yourself, Lee. Hopefully it's nice, and because it's a bank holiday, I think a lot of people are going to be enjoying this, obviously because of fixtures. This game was meant to be played on a Sunday. This game was then changed because of Premier League action, so they moved it to the Monday. And on top of that, Wolfsburg have to train on the pitch. So Wolfsburg will be flying in probably Saturday, train on Sunday, and then we'll play the game on the Monday. So they'll enjoy a little bit of the British. They'll probably do some sort of tours or something. They'll probably do something just to fill their days a little bit. But this game is huge, and some big players. I believe it's about eight to 11 of those players that are playing for Wolfsburg play for the German national team. So players like Wilms, Lana Oberdorf, who actually, funny enough, could have actually been sent off in that game for the amount of fouls she was doing. Just to put it in perspective, she she was fouling everyone and pushing and pulling people every 5 minutes. There are some funny moments in there. When Laura Weinreiter came on as well, Jons Jossier decided to, for whatever reason, because Laura's gone to get the wind ball, she's decided to sort of twist halfway round and then dive forwards. So it's very odd, but it's sort of it's just coming up against these physical teams. There's some fantastic players in there as well. You've got Jill Rord, as well, former gunner. Alexander Pop still got to come back. So there's plenty of talent on show, and this is the first time that Arsenal will have held a semi-final for 10 years.
Is that right?
In the women's game. The last time we had a semi-final was against Wolfsburg, and it was at Meadow Park, and it only drew just over 1,000 people.
Yeah, I think I saw the Twitter about that, saying the comparison between the two games. It's just remarkable to see the improvement in the attendance. Like they said, that you talk about the media stuff as well. You've got the YouTube channel DAZN taking the coverage. You've got channels like ourselves talking about it, which is fantastic. And talking of other channels, do you want to give your channel another shout out as well, by the way?
Yeah, so the channel is called, sorry, it's my computer, my laptop needs to charge. So,
oh dear. A charge of mine going technically wrong, that never happens.
So it's Vic Akers Wonderland. We have the YouTube channel itself. We're also on Apple and Spotify as well. And that's all done with two other lovely people, including Lottie and Adam, who both goes to they both go to the men's games and the women's games. Adam's more of a, I'd say he's more of the historian of the group.
Very knowledgeable guy, very good guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's probably a little early to talk about team news. I'm not aware of anyone else going off injured further than that I heard initially.
No, the only news that will most likely be coming in is that Caitlin Ford could be potentially coming back. She wasn't available to play because in Jonas' press conference, he said it was going to perhaps be a bit too early for her to come back. So I think that Caitlin would be aiming to be back in for that Champions League game. It also gives another option. It doesn't mean we're relying on some of the youngsters as much as we were in this match. Katrina Cool again coming off the bench for Victoria Pelova, playing in that right wing sort of role, which I'm going to be honest, she's a centre mid. She's not a right winger. Although Jonas keeps on putting it there for whatever reason. But it's, and apart from Alexander Pop, she's the only one that's going to be coming back as far as we're aware. But it could perhaps be this week. A lot of the comebacks coming back. Alexia Putellas will be making her debut. Her first appearance at the Nou Camp for Barcelona in the game against Chelsea on Thursday. Since she did her ACL, that's nearly 12 months ago that she did that. So just to put it into perspective, there are players coming back from all sorts of sides now, and it's going to be interesting because you've got the second leg being played on Thursday. So Barcelona will know or Chelsea. Fingers crossed and touching wood that it is Barcelona, because you don't want to face Chelsea in the final again.
No, I suppose not. But we'll take whatever. You know,
they've got.
I have memories of a Barcelona final of another sort, but I'd like to put that to bed. But yeah, we'll look forward to it. Let's see what happens first on Monday, and we'll hopefully get through to the final, and then we'll take it from there.
It'll be a very interesting one. That's absolutely.
For sure. Matt, I just want to say thank you very much for jumping on with us today. We'll kind of wrap it up there. I'll pop our socials just up on there. There it is. So where can they find you on Twitter?
So my Twitter is @MattLR28.
Thank you very much. You can find me at Guna Lee Meads down there. You can find us at Guna Gathering. Myself and Posh Bertie are going to be on our Twitch channel later on this evening, which is www.twitch.tv/Guna Gathering. And we're going to it's going to be a late-ish one. Don't know exactly what time because it will depend on when my wife gets in from work. But we're going to take a little bit of a break from the football and we're going to go back to WCPW, I think we're going to watch a Drew Galloway match. That's now, what's his name? Drew McIntyre is his WWE name. We're going to watch his match. I think it's against Martin Kirby, but we'll join in. I think it'll be after 10 o'clock for that one. So until then, just to make a bit of a smoother ending, I'm going to put the video that Matt shared to me from the Munich game. I'm going to put the 8-second clip of that on, and then I'm going to end the stream because it's going to be cleaner than just moving the phone over. So I'll say thank you very much for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.